Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. We are back with another episode of the Next Goal Wins podcast, episode number
62, baby. 62. So close to 63.
Georgie,
So
that's a really nice hoodie.
That's a badass
comfy.
hoodie right here. Very
Looks
comfy.
very comfy.
Very comfy. Ah, so nice.
Is it nice and warm?
Very nice and warm. It's
'cause it's
keeping all the
chilly up
cold away.
Have you prepared your shout outs yet? Or are you
There's no shout out.
there's no shout outs today? It's disappointing. You have a lot of time. We've been like a week and a half since we recorded the last podcast, almost 2 weeks, and you couldn't think of a single shout out for today.
No shout outs.
Dang. What about you, Joe?
Keep it moving.
Yeah, actually. I have one for Brandon Matty. He gave me 2 free jerseys.
Which jerseys?
Black Juventus Cristiano Ronaldo and an all black and yellow Chinese national team jersey. Looks pretty sweet.
Yeah, that must be cool.
That's the most random combination.
Yeah, but I do like when people
sure.
gift me like random jerseys from like random clubs. Like I had a couple at Gardner where I used to coach a couple Norwegians, and one of them gave me this sick away it was home or away Norwegian kit, and it was like the classiest jersey I ever had.
Well, Norwegian because he's from Norway. But
Well,
he's
yeah, but it was
getting a Cristiano
I don't know.
Ronaldo Juventus jersey.
Well, it's funny. I was driving to work yesterday. What is today? Tuesday? Yeah, yesterday. And he's like, "Hey, man, I got these jerseys. I don't think I want them. I'll bring them in. You might want them. I don't think you'll want them." And he brought them in, and I was like, "Heck yeah, I want them." Cristiano Ronaldo Juventus jersey, and then the China one I'll bring. I should have brought. I meant to bring them. I forgot, but it's sweet. It's got like some it's all black with some like dragons on it that are like
dope.
fainted, and then the logo's in like neon yellow, and the rest of the jersey's all black. It's pretty sweet, but it is random.
And Ronaldo suing Juventus, getting 21 million from them. Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah, they already happened.
I didn't hear about this at all.
I didn't hear about that.
Yeah,
either.
he's suing because they owed him money or something. I don't know. It was a whole ass thing.
I know Mbappe was suing PSG for the
Yeah.
unpaid wages,
It's like
and they said he
similar.
was going to get his money. So interesting.
He needs to get his money because he's not gonna be playing for much longer, man.
Oh,
Ronaldo?
No,
Mbappe.
Oh, Mbappe.
these performances, Well, besides
Chill,
the
man.
weekend.
Chill. There's been very few people in Real Madrid's history Real Madrid always make the biggest signings in the world, right? They got Ronaldo, they got Kaká, they got like Mbappe, Jude, and very few of them, these top world-class players, very few of them can make an instant impact in Real Madrid. If you think about it, almost everyone struggles a little bit. The few people who have that I can remember are Ronaldo and Jude Bellingham are the 2 players that came in and automatically were like, wow, that's impressive. And even Ronaldo, for like the first half of the season, he got a little bit of shit at the beginning.
Cristiano.
And then he just, but he was different.
It's hard
boy.
though. Like Mbappe, like, can you really make an impact? They won the Champions League. They won the league. Like, what can you actually?
They already,
Scoring goals.
they already score a lot of goals.
They score.
They don't
nonstop.
need you to score.
Like, it's hard.
Yeah.
Like, especially for if you're on a team that's not really winning that much or scoring that much, it's one thing. But when you go to a team that's like in flow and all that, and him coming to Real Madrid kind of messed them up a little bit. But I mean, it's not just him. It's just as a team, they're not where they need to be. Yeah. But they won over the weekend, so.
And I think he was also one of those signings that it was like the Floyd Mayweather and Pacquiao fight where like it should have happened 2 years ago or 3 years ago, right? But anyway, damn, getting into talking about Real Madrid, we never talk about any other teams. At least at the beginning, we never talk about any other teams besides Premier League teams. But we'll get into all of that. There's a couple things I want us to get done first.
Uh-oh.
First of all, surfboards update.
Finally.
Business booming.
Business is not booming yet because these suppliers, man, they're killing me. They're killing me. So I got a board, right? This is one of my many samples that I've gotten. All right. I got
Not
like
a fan of that.
I got like 4 samples. I'm not either, right? So this is crap.
All the silver on there? Yeah.
Yeah, they put screws on it that are silver. It's like obviously it just kills the look of it. They gave me a crappy material for the frame.
How many did you order? 300?
So no. So I got like 4 samples. I got another one coming in that I'm excited about because it looks like they got everything that I want them to put on it. And they've actually sent me videos of the process along the way. All these other ones are like, yeah, we'll ship it to you. And I'm like, no, I want pictures before you send it to me. And then when I get the pictures, I'm like, oh, you guys fucked up in something. Like there's something missing or They try and cut corners.
Yeah.
I've had 2 suppliers who have tried to screw me by giving me the wrong thing that they promised me. Like they told me that the frame was made of a certain material, and then when I got it, it was made of a different material. And they're like, "Oh, that's just a sample. When you order the bulk amount, we'll give you the real one." And I'm like, "That's the whole point of the sample, to give me exactly what I'm going to get." But anyway,
What a business model they have. 'Cause
Anyway.
you know that works on people, right? Like that's
Yeah.
why
It
they
does
do
work.
it, because that does work on people, and they make a killing just ordering you whatever the hell they want.
But-
It'll be different when you get all of it.
But what I don't get is like you're talking about a lot of money that you could get from someone. So in order to get that money, you have to make them happy. Like they're very easily like, we're out. Like I complained about these 2 things. I'm like, look, you promised me this, you didn't give me this. So give me, instead of asking me to pay for another sample, you should be giving me a free sample because you screwed up and you did not agree to give me what I asked for. And they're just like, whatever. Like they stopped replying. And I'm like,
No. They start replying for like 3-4 days.
sure, yeah.
And then like a week or 2, they'll come back.
Yeah.
They
do
always
back.
come back.
Really?
They always
They
come
need
back.
that. I guess I could see. I don't know. It depends on how big they are. I can see it both ways, right? Like, because if you're trying to screw people over, all right, you figured it out. I'll go find the next person.
Yeah, but they didn't really make money from them. So it's like,
That's true. They put in all that work. So
Yeah,
it's
and
like they're
these
going
are-
to try and get at least 1 or 2 deals out of you.
And these are all suppliers that do this for like they have factories that do this. So they're trying to make the sales. They're not necessarily just trying to screw you over. They're not like con men who are like, "Oh yeah, I can make you," and then they just give you a crappy sample just to take that money. Like they have factories and like these are all proper suppliers. But I think they almost get like upset. They might. I think they kind of slightly get upset at Americans. They're just like, these guys are kind of spoiled. Like we give them, like we should just be happy with what they give us, kind of thing. And I'm like, no, I want this change, and they're like, eh.
Tell them you're Mexican.
I didn't.
Maybe they'll give you better treatment.
But when they asked me for the delivery address, I put my address, and then they're always, for some reason, if I don't put USA at the bottom of it, they'll be like, "Oh, so you want us to ship to Spain?" And I'm like, "Where did you get Spain from?"
well, your name.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So the name, they're like, "Oh, he must be in Spain."
Yeah.
But I mean, if you type that address in, the only place it's going to happen is going to be in the United States, just the way it's written.
Yeah. Unless somehow
Unless there's
there
another
is
one in
something in Spain.
Anyway.
I highly doubt it though, but
So surfboards are coming. We're getting there. I'm one of those people that I do not want to sacrifice the quality. If the board is not if I get 6 samples and none of them are to my liking, we're scrapping the surfboards project. Honestly, or we'll just keep doing it the way that I'm doing it right now. But
Business is going belly up already.
no. But
We're literally gonna close the
Well,
doors.
those tariffs are
I'm
not
He's
gonna
gonna
work.
close the doors before the first.
no. But I do have
Sale.
a potential investor already. All right, which I didn't even reach out to anybody for like investing, but my boy Eddie was like, he's like, give me a proposal like you're on Shark Tank. He's like, I'll give you an offer.
Damn.
So I gave him the numbers. We'll see what he's interested in. He wants equity. And he's like what's that guy's name? Kevin O'Leary. He's the one
Yeah.
that like wants the royalties for the next 30
Freaking
years
hate
or whatever.
Kevin O'Leary.
Or he's like, oh, give me 1% until you pay
Yeah.
back the loan, and then I own 50% of your company,
Yeah.
and I get your first child.
Yeah, honestly, that sounds like Eddie. I'm like, chill, man, chill. So that's the surfboards update, but they're coming as soon as I launch it. We're making social media. He had some good ideas though too. He was like, give it to some coaches for free that are like popular coaches or like big colleges and stuff like that, and just tell them to take a couple pictures, which I'm gonna do. Just try and get the word out there and see if I can get a couple sales from that. But I looked at the margins, and it's actually a pretty legit thing. Like I don't have to sell as many boards as you think in order to like at least make my money back. It's a low risk investment, but I think it's gonna happen. So I'm excited about that.
Is it gonna happen before the tariffs come
Yeah,
in?
that's
or
the
not?
thing. I'm trying to get this quick. I'm hoping this sample that comes in, as soon as I get it, I'm gonna test it for like a week or 2, put it through some rough testing, right? Like throw it in the trunk, throw the soccer balls on top of it, like throw it everywhere, and then if it looks good and it holds up to everything, I'll put the big order in and we'll get surfboards started, baby. We'll get it going,
Hell yeah. And then that's where the podcast dies.
and that's what.
How he found his new business venture.
Nah,
It's all right.
we're
We
still
can make
here.
the podcast run without him.
We're still here. That is we were talking about this before off the screen, but that is the next one. Coach Javi's running podcast. If anybody has a podcast out there,
And you gotta fly him out though.
yeah, you're fine. Well, that's part of the package, sure.
Yeah.
But if you don't have any cameras, you don't have any microphones, you don't have any experience, don't worry. I will bring it all. I'll bring this whole setup. wherever you want me to.
Accept the experience. He doesn't have much of that.
Yeah.
Cameras.
I'll even be one of the hosts, and we can get it started. Hit me up.
Javi's on like 25 different podcasts, just like
He's just scrolling, and Javi's in like all the shorts you watch.
Yeah, I'm trying to build my own brand at the same
Yeah.
time that I'm building all these brands.
yeah, bringing a surfboard every single podcast. That's
There you
that's actually a good idea.
So what was the next one? There was another one. Oh, I'm on almost 2 weeks of constant going to the gym, lots of running. Today, Joe, I ran for the majority of the mile and a half that I ran today, I ran at a pace that was 7 minutes and 30 seconds mile.
Boy over here's cruising, man.
I'm out here, dog.
Time for him to lace him up.
Lace him up,
He's
baby.
back.
I have been eating much healthier than I used to. Now, I still have not had a single cheat meal that involves like McDonald's, burgers, fries, like fried foods, anything like that. My cheat meals are like Subway. Like I'll go get like a chicken teriyaki sub from Subway. And that's if I'm really craving something. Besides that, really healthy breakfast. Sometimes I skip breakfast if I'm not really that hungry. Lunch, I try and get some protein and some carbs in, like pasta, which maybe I should lower it a little bit on the carbs because I am pretty carb heavy. But I figured as long as I am trying to eat much healthier than I used to, and I'm exercising on top of it, I can't go wrong.
No, you're doing great.
Great
That's
steps,
perfect.
man.
And they
100%.
say 3 weeks it takes to build a habit. It started 2 Thursdays ago. So this Thursday will be the 3rd week.
Well timed.
Wow. So on Thanksgiving is gonna be
Thanksgiving
So
is
that's the
3
last
weeks.
day. You have to stay true on Thanksgiving. Then on
nah.
Friday
Don't
you
stay
can
true
eat
on
good.
Thanksgiving. You gotta just go all out.
No, but I've
I'm
noticed
used
this.
to it
Like,
every time.
I'm not gonna make myself go hungry. Like I hate that feeling. I hate the feeling of like
Well, yeah, you should. Like,
no, but like some people will be like, oh,
Just
instead of
make-
eating, I'm just gonna not eat. Like I don't want to do that. So in my head, I'm thinking as long as I eat something slightly heavier than what I would have eaten at this point before, then I'm
Yeah.
okay. So like the other day, I got a little hungry, and instead of like ordering something on like DoorDash, I made myself like a peanut butter sandwich, peanut butter and jelly. Or I had like the other day, I had like a bowl of cereal. Like that to me is just satisfy the cravings a little bit, and tomorrow I'm back in it. But the gym has served me really well for the fact that it's obviously gotten me consistent to go running. I've ran almost every single day for the last 2.5 weeks, and it's forced my kids to have to be able to sit in the freaking kids club at the gym and not just cry their way out of it. So
How's
now,
Roman doing with that?
fantastic. I've gotten a whole workout in the last like 4 or 5 days that I've gone. They haven't called me to come pick up my kid because my kid's crying.
Was he struggling at first with it?
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
He's gotten then.
Roman's actually been better now. Lobo was the one that would just cry. He would just cry the whole time. And then like 30 minutes into the workout, they'd be like, look, he's been crying for the last 15, 20 minutes. So I'm just like, all right, I'll pick him up and I'll go. But now I've also gotten into their heads as soon as we wake up, like, hey, we're going to the gym again today. And then when when Lobo starts giving me a little bit of a fuss, I'm like, and we're going to do it again tomorrow and the day after and the day after. And so now they're just like, they're finally in the routine of like, well, we're going to wake up. We're going to go to the gym. Yeah. I've gotten full workouts in. It's fantastic.
Damn, man.
We out here,
Man.
dog. We making
This guy's
moves.
out. He's fixing other podcasts. He's got surfboards rolling. He's saying take it or leave it to people all across the world.
What are you smiling about,
Going to the
Georgie?
gym, eating healthy. Yeah, as he drinks his prime energy drink. But baby steps, Georgie.
Again.
Yeah.
Oh,
we
you guys would
celebrate
be surprised.
progress, not perfection.
Yes, you should be surprised. Besides drinking like a prime, when I need a little bit of extra energy or whatever.
It's also 10 p.m. at night.
Yeah.
That's slamming an energy drink.
But anyway, these are I told these guys these are $1.
2025 is when we'll work on the sleep habits.
That's not even the worst
These
part.
are $1 at the gas
This man
station.
messages me when he's at the gym running. He's like, I just chugged this energy drink. I was tired. And he
That's-
tried to
that's
run. And he's like,
My heart hurts.
Wasn't feeling great afterwards. I have not had a Coke or a fountain drink. I have these every once in a while, maybe like once every 2 days, which is not great, I know. But besides that, it's just water.
Better than your
no
all the
soda.
pop you were drinking, though.
Yeah. I was drinking a lot of pop. I haven't drank pop. It's the only thing.
yeah, that alone just changes the whole.
You feel like you're losing weight?
I am. I can already tell. Like I look at myself in the mirror. I can always tell by my cheeks too. Like I've noticed on the podcast, like my cheeks get a little chunky. The way the shirts fit me, I can always tell if I have like a little bit of an extra belly. And like I know that I'm only 2.5 weeks in, and I already feel much more comfortable in like the shirts that I'm wearing. And And
How
like,
long are you doing this for? Or is this just new Javi? New year, new me?
I think this was the perfect time to do it because as long as I can survive the holidays, as soon as the holidays are over, I'm already like a month and a half in, 2 months in.
Yeah.
And then by the time summer comes around, like I'll be exactly where I want to be. Like
You'll be shredded.
I won't be shredded.
No shirt.
I'll be honest, I'm never going to get shredded, but I just want to look, I just want people to be like, oh, that guy's athletic. Like that guy goes to the gym. You know what I mean? And also get a little bit fitter. So when I make my return for our boys at Total Soccer, because I was a Total Soccer Royal Oak champion, I'll be ready to go and I'll be fit.
What's the team name?
The team name is ABCDE. Is that what our team name is?
Yeah, it is. There might be an F. Is it A, B,
There
C, D,
might
E,
be.
F?
I don't even know.
But
Undefeated,
I'm making my
baby.
return. Making my return.
Haven't lost a game since you left.
To be honest, I don't think we've lost the
I don't
game
think we
in the
yeah.
past. Like
I actually
8
don't
seasons.
think we ever lost a game when I was playing, at least, or the games that I've been there. Not because of me necessarily, but we've only lost like one game in the last couple of years
Yeah, maybe.
that I remember.
Keep the streak alive then, huh?
All right, before we get into it though, last little bit,
Fuck,
last
we
little bit.
just jinxed it. I know
Last
that
little
for a
bit.
fact.
Georgie's birthday was a couple days ago.
Oh, it was?
Yeah,
Oh, shoot. When was it? I got to put it
November 19th.
November 19th. Oh, that was
November 19th. So that was what, like
Damn,
it's
son.
like a week ago, right?
Yeah, exactly. A week to the day.
Is it a week?
Should we sing him happy
when is your
birthday?
birthday, Joe?
No worries. I don't have one.
I just want to know.
January 12th.
January 12th. Okay, so it's coming up.
It is.
Perfect. It's coming up. Good. Because I only memorized Georgie because obviously we've been friends for a long time, and his actually pops up on my Facebook. And I don't think I had you as a friend on Facebook for a while.
Yeah, I think I just added
Are we
you
even
recently.
friends?
I added you recently, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
You guys do know on the iPhones, if you text somebody on their birthday and you say happy birthday, it automatically saves it in your phone for forever that's their birthday.
That's pretty cool.
All you have to do in the upper right-hand corner is hit update. There's your pro tip.
I like it.
So I wish you would have told me this because I would have texted Georgie on
Sure,
Tuesday.
but you have to memorize their birthday first in order for that to happen.
Or get it on Facebook the one time. And make sure once you get on Facebook, instead of posting on Facebook, text them.
Got it.
That's smart. I
Got
didn't
it.
know they automatically
But
put it
anyway,
on there.
last year
It's a pro move.
I think I gave you a birthday gift. If I'm not mistaken, it was some shin guards. Remember that?
Those are
gave-
burned.
I gave Georgie some shin guards, which
They're
unfortunately
sacrificial.
contained a character. Let's say contained
Yeah.
a character
Daenerys.
that is no longer playable
Yeah.
in Georgie's video game of life.
Yep.
So unfortunately, he cannot wear. That person's still alive, by the way. The way I'm making it seem is like
Yeah, they're still.
person's still alive.
They have the shin guards actually. I did not
right.
take the shin guards.
Smart.
We're not going to specify whether it's a he or she, but
Fucking my boy Darwin's on there, man.
it
Snow
wasn't
too.
the dogs that were in the picture of the shin guards.
Yeah,
It might be at Darwin's house.
So it's unfortunate because Georgie can't wear those shin guards anymore, and he's still playing soccer. I thought he would have been retired by now, but he's still
Damn.
playing soccer. He can't wear those shin guards anymore. So what do you think your boy did?
I'm going to guess got him some new ones.
Yeah, we gotta update the shin guards, guys. Gotta update the shin guards. So fortunately, we got some straight from where's this? Straight from wherever this came from. They don't even have the address on here. We got Georgie some updated shin guards for his birthday. And this time we went with two different designs.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
We went with two different designs. Which one do you want first? Do you want
I already.
let me pull the first one out so you guys can see this, and we'll put this on the camera. Let me just show it to the camera first, and then I'll pass it around the room here. The first one is Georgie in Halloween. Georgie in the Halloween episode of. This is gonna be hard to see. Here, actually, I can put it to your camera, Georgie, if I'm not mistaken. Here, let me pan to you.
Bro.
Let's see if it'll get a go on and focus. There it is. There it is. Georgie during Halloween with Diddy at the bottom corner taking a peek.
There's Diddy.
A little baby oil in the corner there. So Joe, take a look at that one.
That was so good.
Take a look at that one.
He's got the...
We know that image is gonna live forever somewhere, so it might as well be
Dude, that's so
while Georgie's
good.
playing soccer.
Can you imagine though? The referee asked, "Do you have shin guards?" And I just like, "Yeah, I do." And then I
Just throw on one.
That's the funny thing. When they ask him about his shin guards, he's gonna have to show them that. And then the other one, I think it's important to celebrate Georgie's achievements because he's achieved a lot in his soccer career. So the other one, we are honoring. I'm going to put it to the Georgie's camera here. We are honoring his second place finish in Liga Mundo Latino Detroit, baby. Sunday League here in Detroit. Georgie made it to the final and lost in the championship match. This is a picture of him as he gets his second place medal, which I'm sure he's framed. He's put somewhere already. So Joe, I'll let you take a look at that.
You look good, Georgie. You look good.
Oh man.
So there you go, Georgie. Updated
Updated Shingar.
updated shin guards so that you're ready to go.
Which one of the two designs would you say is your favorite?
I don't I don't know.
I did forget to put Bitcoin in there. I know it's pumping right now, but
Man, wow, this is the best gift I ever got. So I think I'm going to be framing those.
and I figured if I put you on there, nothing can happen in which you can no longer wear those shin guards. So there you go.
Oh, I'm definitely wearing those shin guards.
All right, so let's get into it then. Let's get straight into not straight into it. We're 20 minutes in, but let's get into the actual footballing portion. Where shall we start? Shall we start with? I feel like we always start with Liverpool, Arsenal. Let's start with Manchester United today. Boy, Ruben Amorim tied 1-1 against Ipswich in his first match as manager. Said that in his post-match interview that the players were thinking too much, and obviously it's going to take some time. What do you guys think? One, about just the fact that they tied Ipswich 1-0. How much time will he need? And does he even have the right players currently to play in this system?
I didn't watch the game because I was playing in my indoor league that I got second place in. But I did watch a little bit after, a little bit of the game, and Man United were just terrible. For most of the game, they were just awful. Ipswich were the better team. They probably should deserve to win. And it's weird because usually when a new manager comes in, when the team is not performing, you have that bounce of like a new manager. And when they scored in like a minute or 90 seconds in, you're like, all right, Manchester United, like they're probably back, whatever, all that stuff. No, there was no bounce. All the players were just pretty much the same players they were. Their best players are Onana. And Onana has been absolutely amazing this season. I know I gave him a lot of shit last year because he was awful. But this year he's been actually like really, really good, making a lot of good saves, keeping Manchester United in games. He's going to need some time. I think he's a really good manager, but I don't think he has the players. They're just not good enough.
I'd echo a lot of the things Georgie said. I was free actually on Sunday, so I was able to watch this game and the Liverpool game because you guys also played, I think, on Sunday, right?
Yeah, we did. We played 9 in the morning. We played early morning.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No. Yep. But I thought right when Rashford scored, I'm like, oh man, this is different. But then it wasn't. It was all the same after that. Which honestly, I wasn't upset about. I do think that they have to get a few players in a few key areas to play the way that he wants to play. But they didn't look. I thought Bruno was going to be better in the setup because Bruno since Ten Hag has left has done really, really well for Portugal and for Man United. Didn't see that on Sunday, sadly, but Ipswich, I really, really, really like Delap on Ipswich. I think he's
Man City.
Gonna go somewhere, yeah. Is that where he's rumored to go?
No, he came from Man City. They let him go, I think, on a free.
That makes sense. But no, he's good, but Man United looked pretty boring.
To be fair, though, it was the international break, so he didn't have time with any of those players.
I think he had 2 days with the actual team, but he had a couple weeks with the players who didn't go on international break.
Yeah.
So, like, I guess that's where you got to give him, like, all right. But as a player, you coming in, new manager, Manchester United, you're supposed to be excited, like, because everybody always blames the manager.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, Ten Hag is finally out. We can finally do our thing. We can prove that we're a good team, good players, and it's all the same.
You see other tweets about top training sessions since Amorim came? Saw a few tweets.
Rashford posted one, right?
And Casemiro did too.
Just saying that like the training session was like top level.
Yeah.
Very intense.
Oh, that's a dig at Ten Hag.
Sure,
Like,
of course.
It's like Casemiro's not going to work out in this team.
No.
A lot of them aren't.
Casemiro's 3 years. You talk about me playing too long. Casemiro's like way past.
Yeah, but to be fair, Casemiro, the last 5 or 6 games has actually played really well, scored a lot of goals.
Casemiro can score goals from set pieces. Like that's what he's good at, and he can defend set pieces.
You're talking about individually open play.
Yeah, when you're talking about
doesn't have
transition,
the
you can't.
levels, yeah.
Like it's just impossible.
Especially if you play up against teams who are pretty fit
Yeah.
in the middle of the park. I mean, we haven't talked about them yet, but I mean that was one of the things I think City's problem was over the weekend. They just got
Transition.
ran all over in transition and just in general in the midfield.
Like think about Manchester United's midfield.
Eriksson, Casemiro, Bruno,
None of them.
Garnacho, because technically the way they're playing, kind of
Garnacho's
is
the one
part of
that
the box.
can get back in transition and defend if
he wants to.
If he wants to, because he has the pace and he's young. And
Eriksson can't.
Eriksson cannot. Casemiro cannot.
I thought Mount was going to start, honestly, for them. I don't know why I did. I just thought Mount.
Mount would be.
And he didn't even sub on, I don't think.
He likes Mount a lot. He's mentioned how he's got 2 different positions for Mount, and that just seeing him, like he's like the look on his face when I saw him about really wanting to come back and be on the team. He's like, I think he's going to be really happy with me being the new coach because I got multiple positions for Mount, and he's been injured, so I think that's why he came on as a sub, right? So he's been
I
out for
like
a while.
Mason Mount, and Kobe Mainu is the one that can get up and down.
Mm-hmm.
But Casemiro, Eriksson, the old guard, Ugarte, he didn't even start, did he?
Nope.
But he came back from international, so that's fair.
So one of the pundits was talking about it, and they were like, "Why are we even talking about this right now? Because none of the players that he's got right now are going to be the same ones that are playing in this system in a year. Like when you think about once he gets a transfer window in and he brings the players that he actually wants to bring in, a lot of these guys aren't actually going to be in the team. That's what he said. He said the same thing. He's like, "Do you think Eriksson is going to be in this team?" He's like, "Do you think Casemiro is going to be in this team?" Talked about the center backs. He's like, "No. So why are we even talking about it?" I liked his interview so far. He's very honest. It's completely refreshing from Ten Hag. 'Cause Ten Hag, every interview that Ten Hag was in, especially like the last few months, was very defensive. He's like trying to defend why his stuff is working when it's very clear that it isn't. Ruben was like, I'm not going to ask for time because I know at a club like this, you have to win right away. So I'm not going to say it's going to take time. He's like, I think there's 2 options. He's like, we either change things to get immediate results, but we'll be at the exact same spot next season as we are right now. He's like, or we risk a little bit by implementing a new philosophy, my philosophy that I believe in, and we maybe struggle at the beginning, but a year from now we'll be in a much better place. He's like, and that's what I'm going to do. He's like, I'll take the risk now, and I'm not going to tell you that I need time. We're going to find ways to get results, but we are going to struggle a little bit, and that's okay because a year from now we'll be in a much better spot. However, I just think he even said it before. He's like, in Portugal, there's 2 or 3 teams that are the best teams. He's like, everyone else, like, yeah, they make things difficult, but you're going to control the entire game. It's up to you. He's like, here in the Premier League, it's a lot harder, obviously. He's very open about his tactics. He's very open about the system. Everybody in the world, even if you're not a footballing expert, can tell you what system that he wants to play and how he plays it at Sporting, just because everybody's talking about it. I wonder if just him being super open about that and super fixated specifically on the positions and the formation is ultimately going to make it just so much easier for people like Guardiola, Arne Slot, Arteta, who are all really tactically focused coaches, to just be like, all right, well, we're going to know exactly what the solution is to beat the system.
I mean, they've seen it firsthand at Sporting. Like everybody knows about Sporting, how good they've done in the past 2-3 years, and the style that he's brought into the Champions League, and obviously he's played against Pep and all that. And now it makes it like you can look at it as like he said his players are Sporting and they're good players, so they already know like what to expect. So that's why they've been doing so well. But then on the other hand is like you come to Manchester United who you don't have the players. They're probably like all of us think they're not going to be the same players. So this remaining 25 plus games or whatever games are left, if you don't do well, I mean, I don't think they're going to sack him, but like a Manchester United again, like starting over, trying like no Champions League. I don't think they can. Oh, I don't know. They might somehow make it, but if they don't get into the Champions League or get into the top 10, for example, there's no way you can just be like, all right, well, we got to give him time. Like, it's one of those things where as much as you want to implement your own style, you got to get results as well because you're Manchester United. Like, there's no.
So what is the place that he has to finish with Manchester United in order for them to say that he was the right guy to bring in and still give him a little bit more time after?
I don't know. I don't even. Well,
I'd say anything top half. I bet you he stays.
Yeah, I mean, there's
Like,
no like
because they're not. To your point, they're not going to make a run at top 4 probably. Because if you look at how many teams are already there, there's already 6.
unless something absolutely crazy happens. They're all top 6 teams or whatever. Just
because you got what
don't
Liverpool,
win.
City, Arsenal, Chelsea, Tottenham.
I haven't looked. I have.
Then
no
you, I
idea.
mean, then you could also say who else is up there. Nottingham Forest is up there. They'll
I don't even
probably
know where Man
fall.
United is. Are they in the top 10 right now?
No. They're outside the top 10. 13th or 14th, I think.
They're 12th, yeah. So it goes Liverpool, City, Chelsea, Arsenal, Brighton, Tottenham, Nottingham Forest, Villa, Fulham, Newcastle, Brentford, United.
How far are United from from 6th place?
6th place is on 19, United's on 16, so not far.
Oh, so it's not too bad.
4th place is on 22, United's on 16.
It's not.
You know
it's
what's
not too bad.
crazy? 12th is closer to 4th than 4th is to 1st.
Yeah, because Liverpool has come away with a big lead so far.
Yeah, just wild to think.
That is great. Oh, I guess. I mean, I guess it's not too bad. When you say 12th place, it sounds a lot worse than it is.
So but to give credit to Ruud, I think he had maybe 2 matches in the Premier League, if I'm not mistaken.
Did he?
He
2 or 3,
he
and
did
won
like
all
he
of
did
them,
like 5 matches. 3 of them I think were in
Cups.
Europa League or whatever, cups. So, but the 2 that he had in the Premier League, I think he did well. So he bumped them up just a couple of spots from that.
Well, that's still pretty good because he won all the games, right, Ruud?
Yeah. I don't know if did he win all the games or he tied 1 and won the rest. He didn't lose.
Yeah, he didn't lose.
But now, so Joe's saying that there's 3 points separating
6th and 12th.
6th and 12th. Is that right?
Yeah,
That's crazy.
Yep.
So he wins a game, and obviously other teams, you have to expect all those other
Yeah.
teams to lose games. But he wins 2 or 3 games
Yeah,
from now on.
He's
Like
in the race for the top 4.
And I think they have a
it's
really
crazy.
weak schedule from what Tim Hard was talking about. He's like, this is the perfect time for him to come in because the schedule they have coming up is, well, there's no easy games, but like a lot easier than playing like the top teams.
Yeah, they've got Everton at home, Arsenal away, Forest, City away.
Okay, never mind that.
Never mind.
Never mind.
I'm like, what is
maybe,
he-
George is making stuff up
no,
here.
no, maybe it was when I watched it was after Ten Hag left. So
Like
they had
Ipswich.
the Ipswich Leicester. They played twice,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, because after Ten Hag left, they went Chelsea at home, Leicester,
Yeah.
Ipswich, then Everton. So that, I guess, could have been it. But
Yeah.
then it goes Arsenal away,
Damn.
Nottingham Forest at home, City away,
Get thrown straight in, bro.
Bournemouth,
I like it.
Wolves, Newcastle.
I mean, honestly, if I'm a manager, I would.
I would
kinda
want the
like
harder
that.
games first to like get those out of the way.
Yeah, but like I just got in. Like I don't know. Like my guys,
Yeah.
these guys suck. It's not me, bro. These guys, they're not good.
The games you're supposed to lose. I guess I would say I would rather have first.
But I do think they're gonna succeed in the long run. I like him. I like the way he talks. I like everything about him.
I think it's going to come down to though what does the club do? Because if the club continues just to buy players that are big name players, I could see them struggling again. Because I feel like Manchester United continues to do this. There's not alignment between their coaching staff and who's ever had in deciding on transfers, where like they just get certain people that don't fit in their system. You know what I mean? They were starting Rashford as an out and out 9. I think it's a prime example. They don't have a 9 that Emeram likes enough to play there. Because I don't think he wants Rashford in that position.
Oh, probably not. But if he's at the club, I think they've already talked about it because I think that was one of the things when I wanted him at Liverpool. Liverpool were not willing to
Give him
that power, and West Ham didn't want to give him that power either. So when he went for his
But
interviews,
you think United would?
I mean,
That's crazy.
at this point, like, well, you can't. It's been 10 years since United have been relevant. Like you have to change
yeah.
something.
At some point, you have to just swallow your pride. And
Well, Ruben did say that he's going to have a word in the transfers. I think part of it was Ten Hag did have a say in the transfers because he brought half of Ajax over.
True.
yeah,
And that was the problem. He brought half of Ajax over. No disrespect. They always have really good teams. But it's different also in the Premier League, and the players that he brought over are I mean,
He just rebuilt. Did you ever look at his Ajax semifinal team?
was it half
And,
those players?
It literally was like 4 or 5 of the same players that he has on the team now.
So you could blame Ten Hag for that. I think Ruben's going to be the good thing about Ruben is that he's got such a specific system and way that he wants to play that he's going to be very clear with the board about like that player does not fit my system. So don't bring him over here because he's not going to fit in. I'm not going to play him. He's not going to work. And then he's going to be like very specific about the other players that do fit into the system. I just wonder what's like I said. I just wonder what's going to happen if his system's not working against some of the big teams, and he starts struggling, and they're just like figured it out, and he's going to have to be like, crap, what am I going to do? Because in Portugal, he's like he said, he's got better players. Even if they figure out the system, he's probably going to win most of the matches. Here in the Premier League, it's a toss-up between 6 or 7 different teams in the Premier League about who's going to win. And it comes down to like really, really fine margins.
The thing he has going for him, though, too, I mean, like when City went and played them and lost, Pep already knew his tactics, to your point, right? He was already announced as a Man United coach. Pep had time to scout him. And I think between that and then him bouncing Arsenal out of... Was it the Champions League? No, it wasn't the Champions League. It was Europa League, I think, right? 2 seasons ago.
Yeah.
Are his tactics just good enough? You think that those teams just can't figure it out? Or do you think that now that they're in the league, they'll study him more and they'll be able to crack the code, I guess, for lack of a better
It's going
term?
to be different now. Just because when you're in the Champions League and you're like, oh, Man City against Sporting, like it's Sporting. Like not that they take it easy, but you just think like,
We should win.
Yeah, if we're in a group with it's Man City, PSG, Sporting, and I don't know, Slovan Bratislava, whatever, in the group stage Champions League, right? We're gonna get through. Doesn't really matter. Like the top 2 are always gonna go through. It's easy.
Plus the schedule is so congested for a team like Manchester City that they don't have that much time to like really focus on tactics against Sporting because they're also thinking the priority is the Premier League.
Mm-hmm.
So then
And they're
they
thinking, we just got to go out there and we can win this game without great tactics.
yeah, and now
Then they don't have great tactics and they lose.
and now they're going to be playing. I mean, how many times has Manchester City played Arsenal in the last few years?
Yeah.
Same thing with Liverpool and Manchester City. They play each other so much that it becomes easier to scout and harder to perform well against these teams because they already know exactly what you play. Specifically for somebody as stubborn as Ruben Amorim about the style that he wants to play, they're going to be like, we already know. We've played this multiple times, and every single time that you play against it, it should become easier to scout against it and to
know where
know what the tactics are.
makes sense.
What about Chelsea? Again, my boy Eddie doesn't give. He's always like, man, you guys don't talk about Chelsea enough. A podcast or 2 ago, we said we're going to talk about Chelsea, and then we went off on a rant about Ruben Amorim, I think, on Manchester United, and we just completely forgot about Chelsea. They're third.
No, they're looking good.
Yeah.
They're looking real good. They've been consistent recently. They're becoming harder and harder to beat. Enzo Maresca's the real deal.
Who'd they play over the weekend?
Leicester. 1-2-1.
Which ultimately fired Steve Cooper.
Fuck, how was he at a Leicester in the first place?
I don't understand why they fired him.
You like Steve Cooper?
Well,
I think
few
he's
things. Who brought them?
absolutely
Who brought Leicester up?
Maresca.
That's what I thought. Okay. Like, I don't know. You hire Steve Cooper and then you fire him after he loses the chance. It's like a weird time to That's what I was like. I was wondering.
I agree with. It makes no sense.
Because it's like, I would understand if they would have lost to Ipswich or somebody that they think that they should beat, but a 2-1 loss to Chelsea at home, and you're out of the drop zone. Like, where did you expect to be now? The whole. I just thought that was weird, especially then you fire your manager right before a crazy amount of games. That if anything, I was like, why don't we keep him, get through January? If we're now in the drop zone, sack him, get someone else in, and try and make some signings to salvage the season and stay up. But like, I don't know. I thought it was weird.
I would have sacked him 2 weeks ago before the international break. That's the only thing that doesn't make sense to me.
Like, yeah, you wait.
Like, if you
because none of your players are going on
like,
international either.
did the board actually think they're going to come and beat Chelsea? Come on, I mean, anything's possible, but let's be realistic. They were never going to win that game. So, sack him before you give like Man United. Amorim comes in, he has time to, even though that didn't really work out that well either, but at least the new manager can come in, settle himself, his family, whatever they have to do, all that stuff, get to know the club, go to a training ground, do all this, interview people if you want within the 10 days or whatever, and then find the right person.
You literally fired him after like the one time there's no more international breaks for a long time.
Yeah. And now you're like, there's like a game every 3 days. What's gonna, I don't know. Well, Rude or David Moyes are the two rumored.
Rude takes it, you think, if he gets offered?
I think he would, to be honest.
Or do you think he wants to hold
that's
out
a
for something
crazy.
different?
I mean, that's a perfect. Like, you don't get an opportunity like that often. It's like Ole.
Yeah,
Like-
but Rude did a good job, man. He did like literally the perfect job in the tiny amount of time that he had in order to get himself some really good jobs afterwards. Because he could have just came in, done the same as Ten Hag for those 5 or 6 games or whatever, like lost most of those and whatever, and he would have just kind of had to go be an assistant somewhere else, or the U21s for.
Yeah, but what is like right now? He leaves. Obviously, he left United. You think he's just gonna sit at home like, I'm gonna wait for the next Premier League
Yeah.
team?
Maybe not Premier League, but I think there's gonna be other teams around the world that are gonna be like, he did a really good job. He's obviously a legend. He's gonna get respect in the locker room.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
And
I
he
mean,
did
definitely
a really
around
good
the
job.
world.
He also
Definitely
might
around
just
the
go
world.
get an assistant job. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I think it's just perfect. Like, you're going into you have an opportunity to coach in the Premier League. Is it going to be difficult with Leicester? Yeah. Is it going to suck if you get relegated? Yeah. But you're getting an opportunity where it's like, you got to think, okay, let's say he goes, I don't know, Italy. Nobody's going to care. Like,
Mhm.
this is the best league in the world because everybody talks about it. He can go to Spain to, I don't know, Mallorca. We're not going to talk about him at all on this podcast.
Sure.
Ever. Like, the publicity you get and the amount of, like, you talk about David Moyes. He was at Everton for how many years? Terrible at Man United. Gets at West Ham. Does really well. Still gets fired. And now every time a team gets, like, their coach sacked, oh, David Moyes. He's always linked. Similar Rude. Like, he's always, now, if he says no to Leicester, he's going to be linked to the next Premier League if he wants to wait. But I just feel like he wants to coach because
I think he also got a taste of being a head coach
Yeah.
at Manchester United. You could tell he really enjoyed that.
Oh, yeah.
Leicester's a perfect project for him because he's in the Premier League. They're doing really bad. They have the right infrastructure that they should be in the Premier League over a long period of time. It's not like a team that's like bouncing up and down. So, I mean, that's a perfect spot for him at Leicester. I think it's the perfect time to sack Steve Cooper because you got to the Premier League after being dropped the year before or whatever. They were in the Premier League for like 6 or 7 years before they got dropped. So now they're like thinking, we can't leave this to, if we don't feel like the guy is right, we just got to get rid of him. And I think from the beginning, Steve Cooper just gets no respect from me, from anyone really. The guy just doesn't look like he has any ideas. It looks like he's just like,
well, that's the
looks like a Sunday league manager in
He
my
does
opinion.
look like that.
But-
yeah. It's a good way to put it, actually.
it's the same thing like for the board at Leicester. I have the same question that I have for Everton. You go into a season with Sean Dyche and you're thinking like, and then when you're in the drop zone or you're like around there, you're wondering, man, how are we down here? We have a good team.
No, but it's a mistake that they make when they say we need somebody with experience. Every club does that.
Yeah.
DCFC did the same thing.
Look at Brighton. They get a coach without experience, and all of a sudden, bam, they're doing fine.
Right, but that's the risk that you take, right? That's the risk that you take of you saying we can either bring somebody who's got experience, who's been here before, who's been able to do the job, or we bet our money on somebody who doesn't have as much experience, but we really believe in their principles. And oftentimes you'll notice it pays off with some of these younger coaches, like Hurstler. He's done a fantastic job. Where if he does a terrible job, people are going to be questioning the board. Like, you gave this guy who's got no real experience, you gave him a job in the Premier League. Like, what's wrong with you? Why don't you go with somebody who's got experience? So that's the thing. But now, like I said, because the game is becoming so much more tactical and it's evolving so quickly, now it's not just, oh, let's get a guy like Big Sam, Steve Cooper, a couple other, Sean Dyche. Those guys are no longer, it's no longer the safe option with those guys. You're actually putting your team more at risk because you know that they're not going to be able to compete against some of the more tactical-minded coaches with better infrastructures.
Crazy part about like the experience thing, you would think at some point having experience and it being bad would count for negative as much as having just
Yeah.
experience. You know what I mean? Like at some point, wouldn't it be like, you know, you've had so much experience, Javi, but you've always been shit.
Yeah.
We're gonna go with this other guy who has no experience, but it doesn't. To your guys' point, like we'll get Steve Cooper. That's who. Like we lost Enzo Maresco, who Leicester dominated the championship. I feel like last season, like absolutely crushed it. Can't keep him. We'll go with Steve Cooper, who barely kept Forrest up. Oh no, they sacked Forrest. They sacked him to stay up.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Yeah. But I think it also is one of those scenarios where you also kind of shake things up a little bit and make things a little bit more uncomfortable for the players in the locker room. So you're hoping that you're going to get that new manager effect before it's too late.
Yeah.
Right? Like you bring in somebody else who's going to be players are going to get a fresh start. So you hope that right off the bat they can get you a couple of wins and then just helps them a little bit longer. And then if you do get somebody like Rude, then you're in
Fresh ideas.
fresh ideas and stuff. So again, we did the exact same shit that we just did last time. Back to Chelsea. Because we do need to give Chelsea some credit. Where do you guys think Chelsea's going to finish off at the end of the Premier League season?
I don't know, but I'm seeing a lot of Chelsea fans getting very, very excited on Twitter. On X. Getting very, very excited. We're better than Man City. Everybody's talking, oh, we're going to finish above Manchester City. It's not even close, blah, 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 all this. So I don't know. I mean, obviously their fans are excited, and rightly so. Like, why would you not be excited? New manager comes in, does really well first year. I don't know. It's a tough one. I have no idea where they finish. Because as much as they've done well, it's so early for me still. Like,
This man's going to 36th game of the season. It's
No,
still early,
we have
guys.
20
I'm not sure.
we have 25 games to go.
Yeah,
Like,
sure.
that's
And-
so many points. And Chelsea are shaky.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what Chelsea I'm going to get at random times. Like, lately they've been doing well. But am I going to get this Chelsea the whole entire season? Like, I just don't, I don't trust their center backs. Like, they've played pretty good the past few games. I don't trust their goalkeeper at all. So, like, that's a main key area. And you're playing Leicester City, Steve Cooper. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I do like Chelsea, like I said. I think they're really good and they're doing really well. But the question mark for me is Sanchez as a goalkeeper with the decision-making that he makes, trying to pass the ball, dribble out of the back, whatever, does crazy things, has cost Chelsea some points already this season. He's also saved them big time this season because he saved the penalty against Forest, I think it was, and then he plenty of saves at home. But it's just the uncertain stuff that happens on the field from Chelsea at times. And if Cole Palmer goes missing for extended period of time, where I put him on my fantasy team and the guy goes ghosts, you know what I mean? Like him and Holland.
Yeah, but Cole Palmer, I can actually kind of guess which games he's going to go missing in. It's just some of the big games.
Mm-hmm.
All the other ones, he's shown up. But Arsenal, Manchester City, Liverpool, those are the ones where he goes missing.
Mm-hmm.
So at least you know what you're going to get. However, you know it. You're only playing those three teams, 6 times out of 36 games or whatever it is. So, what is it? How many games is it? 36?
38.
38. That's right.
By the way,
So I'll take a good Cole Palmer on all the other days and a bad Cole Palmer in those, because those are the games that we already know we're probably going to lose anyway. At least this season.
Joao Felix, he amazing against Leicester. Not in terms of not in terms of the goals or assists or anything like that or created stuff. The man chased the whole entire time he was on the field. Chased, tackled, did the dirty work. As a player of that, like when you think of Joao Felix, you think of a technical player. You think of somebody gets on the ball, really nice, whatever. The man put in work the whole entire game. And I know, not a lot of people are going to give him credit for that stuff, but I love that.
Yeah, but you have to do that when you're not a starting player and you're not getting as much time.
scoring. You need
Yeah.
to do that. Like Martinelli has to do that, otherwys he doesn't play.
Sterling has to do
But
that if he wants to get more minutes.
To Jordy's point, I mean, he still does it, and he should get credit for it. To answer your question, I think Chelsea will finish second or third. And I think, assuming that's a big assumption, assuming Cole Palmer doesn't get injured, because I think to your point, if Cole Palmer gets injured for any extended period of time, they struggle.
What about Pedro Neto? That's because he's gonna get injured at some point.
Neto?
Yeah.
I think that they can replace Neto to a degree as long as he's not out for a long period of time. But they can't replace Cole Palmer, I don't think, at all. And I'm interested to see if Cole Palmer can start showing up against better managers or better teams. And without that, I'd say they're probably closer to fourth, or if they have any type of injuries. But if not, I genuinely think that they can challenge for second or third. I think Arsenal will probably overtake them, but I don't know what's going on with City right now, and I don't see it stopping anytime soon. So, except for I hope. Are you nervous about this weekend?
No, I'm focused on tomorrow.
I guess you guys have. It is a hard week for you guys.
Very hard, but
Madrid and then City.
Chelsea, all I'm going to say is Nico Jackson proving the whole entire world wrong. I sat not in the seat on that table when we had the podcast, when Chelsea first got him. Back my boy. He wasn't scoring. He wasn't all that. He was getting chances. I love players like that.
What was that, back in 2016 when we did that? Was it-
Yeah, episode 58.
Yeah. Nico Jackson and Kunku's not happy, so that's something to look at, because if he's not happy and he's supposed to be your backup when some injuries do occur, and he's looking on the way trying to leave in January, then you're looking at become a bit thin. Neto, one injury from Neto Cole Palmer, you're like okay. And unless you're counting Mudryk of stepping in and saving the day, but
No, but they got Madueke and Sancho.
I forgot Sancho's even there. The guy.
He's been injured though.
Sancho and Sterling are. I don't even know.
I'm surprised that Sterling hasn't gotten more minutes. Even today, during the Champions League, we were up 5-1, and he only played the last 10 minutes of the game.
Have you watched him every time he comes on, dude?
Sure, but you know what he brings. I feel like he hasn't gotten.
Do you know what he brings though? What does he bring?
Experience, smart decision making in the final third. Not the final ball, but the ability to keep possession and actually. I don't know. He's got a little bit more patience, I think, because he played at Manchester City. I do think his age is getting to him a little bit.
Yeah.
He's just he's starting to fall off. Sure. But I'm just surprised that a player like that hasn't gotten as many minutes for Arsenal as you would have thought he probably would have gotten, especially in games like today. You're winning 5-1.
Yeah.
Even when you're winning 3-1 or 4-1 in a Champions League match like that, you think he'd get at least the last 25, 30 minutes. But just the last 10 is basically just
You guys didn't even play in the League Cup game or whatever when you guys were winning.
Yeah, he hasn't played almost
he
at
hasn't
all.
played
Man.
at all.
That's
And
surprising.
I will say the few times I have seen him play, he's struggled tremendously. It doesn't matter who we're playing.
It's tough. I mean, I will say as a player not to play at all, and then you just get thrown in last 10 minutes. What can I really do? So it's I see it both ways. But I don't know where I mean, you guys are not losing anything. Just a spot on a team, I guess. But I don't know where Teta thought is
I think he just brought him in because he could.
Just because he could,
Mhm.
another player.
And we also haven't had
we
too
also
many.
need him for when Saka was injured. He started some of the League Cup games. The other part of the reason why he doesn't play, Saka's always gonna start.
We've
if
gotten
he's somewhat fit.
everybody back now at this point.
And now everyone's fit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we went
Martinelli scoring too, so I don't know what we need Sterling for, but we'll see.
I mean, it's free.
Pretty much. Chelsea's paying for him.
Yeah, but it's also easier to say why did we get him when everyone's healthy? But we went through a period where we were struggling and we needed some players, and so.
But he still didn't play.
But he came off the bench, and then
No, that's when he played a little bit.
Yeah,
It's I don't know.
that's when Martinelli.
Freaking Chiesa has played more than him, and he's been injured the whole season.
Yeah, but Chiesa, I didn't think Chiesa was a great deal. I think Chiesa is actually slightly worse than Sterling. To be honest. Chiesa's. They're talking about loaning him out now,
But that's there's
and I think he's way more inconsistent.
no. I would pick Chiesa over Sterling any day of the week.
Yeah, 'cause he's a Liverpool player, George.
No. Before he was a Liverpool player. We'll
Anyway.
get to Chiesa. Don't worry.
This isn't a Liverpool podcast.
Give him a month. We'll come back and talk
All right.
when he's back from his preseason.
Okay.
But the other thing I wanted to point out is I've noticed there's a shift in tactics a little bit. And I think it's important to note that maybe not everyone, I can't say for everyone, but I've noticed that some of the more successful teams or some of the teams that we feel have more promise because of the managers are playing in a back three. If you think about it. Arsenal, City have been doing it for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone just says that they play in a back four because that's how they draw it up on the board of the game. But
Just because they have 4 defenders on the field.
right. But they're anytime they're in
back there.
possession, they invert the fullback, they play with a back three, and they play with 2 pivots. So really it's that lineup right there, or that formation right there, the 3-2. You think about Enzo Maresca, 3-2-5 in the build-up. Ruben Amorim, 3-2, because then he's got the 2 at the top of the box, the wing backs, and then the center forward. But in that build-out pattern specifically, I've noticed that the 3-2 is the formation of choice for a lot of these managers that we feel like are very...
But that's the Pep
special?
disciples of all of them are like,
Yeah.
who is it? Maresca, Arteta?
Mm-hmm.
Amorim, I don't think there's any connection there, but
I just find that interesting.
Why?
Only because traditionally in the last decade, it's always been a 4. Apart from Antonio Conte, who played the back 3 for Chelsea in that one season that he was that they just dominated. It's always been like a 4 something. We got away from like the 4-4-2 with the flat 4, but then most teams started playing with like a version of a 4-3-3. But I just find it interesting that like if you really look at it, the back 3, like if I was a brand new coach and I had to like catch up a little bit, and I did a survey on like what is the most successful formation, or what is this formation that's going to find me the most success right now, and I got a lot of feedback and stuff. I feel like my research would lead me to believing that a 3-2 in the build-out phase is the most successful. And not just the 3-2, but the other aspect would be finding a way to get a 4th midfielder in the middle, in the build-up. Instead of playing with 3, find a way to play with 4, which is why the 3-2 comes into play, because even if you say you're playing with a 4, you invert the fullback so that you have 2 pivots, and then that gives you 2 10s, which gives you a box in the middle. Box, diamond, whatever you want to call it, gives you an extra player in the middle to be able to play out.
And you still have the width wide from either your wing backs or from your wingers.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think it's just one of those things where it's like once you figure out a better way to do it, you'd be stupid not to follow it. Because like once Pep went, if you have the players to do that, to me, it just gives every person on the ball so many more options. And it's one of the only ways that I feel like you can keep, to your point, overloading the midfield while also staying wide and having the width, but not sacrificing and only leaving 2 people back. I can't think of another way to give you all those advantages while also not hurting yourself from a disadvantage standpoint. Because most of I'm trying to think outside of England.
Xabi Alonso.
Same thing.
Same thing.
So it's pretty much, I think...
progressive managers.
Who's the Inter manager?
Inzaghi. Simeone Inzaghi.
That's not who I'm thinking of then. Maybe it is.
And I think
I don't remember.
But
I feel like another team in Italy plays it too, and I'm trying to think of who.
I think Bologna might have played it last year.
Atalanta plays. I like Atalanta because they're like one of those teams that the way that they play and the way that they man mark makes it really difficult for all these teams.
Because they're man to man.
And it's just kind of weird.
Yeah, because you don't
play that ever.
Yeah. So it's like when you actually do play, it's like.
But they've been good.
Oh, they've been amazing this season.
They've been very good. I was going to say something else regarding all of this. It's just interesting that I find all these progressive managers, or the managers that everybody's like, oh man, this guy's tactics are next level, whatever. This is what I was going to say. The other thing about it is we've seen a big but people are starting to be a lot more fluid with the player movements and the player positions. So before, when you'd ask a team, what's your formation? What do you play? They'll say, I play a 3-4-3, a 4-3-3, whatever. Now, if you ask all of these managers what formation, the first question they'll probably ask you actually is, do we have the ball or do we not have the ball? Because if we do have the ball, we play with a back 3 and we invert the fullback. If we don't have the ball, we defend with a back four and we switch it. Whereas before it was just kind of like we're playing 4-3-3. It's still a similar shape. When we have the ball, you just drop back into your positions if you're a fullback and you pushed up or whatever. But now it's like you're a midfielder, but then you're an outside back, and like it's been you now almost have to have a different formation for when you have the ball versus when you don't have the ball.
Yeah. I think it's just one of those things where it's like a phase. Like I feel like football goes through these tactical phases until in 2-3 years we're gonna a new coach or not even a new coach, somebody else from those coaches are gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna change something up, and then they're gonna do it. It's gonna become a success, and they're like, oh, I'll do it, and then they try to replicate it, and then everybody that tries to do it, like 80% are gonna fail, and then the 20% are just gonna stay with it and stick with it until something new comes in. That's like when we were growing up. What the 4-4-2? It was like Sir Alex, easy, boom, that, and look, he won how many leagues and dominant and all that stuff, and then little by little, the changes and how much like tactically the game has evolved compared to halftime talks 4-4-2 easy.
I've said this before, and I believe I've said this on the podcast as well. I agree with you in that like football goes through phases that I think eventually, because it's still football's really the modern game has really been in effect a short period of time when you think about like in general like the world. I think eventually these things are just gonna like loop back around. When we were growing up, people used to play the sweeper stopper, the diamond back.
You think
Remember
the sweeper stopper's coming back?
I do.
Oh man,
I do. I think the sweeper stopper. I think over the next 5 years, we will see a team that's going to come back. Oops, wrong one. We will see a team that is going to come back with having just one center back behind everybody else just to clean up everything, and it's going to make it really difficult for teams to figure it out just because they haven't played against that formation in so long. And when you think about it, like we talk about Big Ange's high line, right? And you can play that because you have Van de Ven. But when it goes wrong, it goes horribly wrong. When it goes, same thing for like Barca. Barca's playing the super high line. Great when it's working, but when it doesn't work, I mean, you're exposed.
What about your boy Pep today?
Yeah, the high line that he played today. But he doesn't play traditionally. He just played. That was like a.
He just saw a Big Angel over the weekend. So I'm stealing that tactic,
motivated.
man.
Destroyed us 4-0.
But why wouldn't you play a super high line? And then just in case have somebody, or maybe not a super high line, but just have somebody 10 yards behind everybody cleaning everything up.
Because then
you
the high line
wouldn't be
doesn't
a
work
high
when they're
line.
on side.
Right. But you still have, but what I'm saying though is that you still have the players who can press a little bit higher up the field. And then whenever somebody tries to play a through ball, if it's anywhere near that area, that person's going to get to it first.
No, but that wouldn't work. Because then if the guy's in the middle, they're going to leave one guy here, and
Sure.
he's going to be on the line. And
Now
now
they're behind.
All I'm saying is it's going to take a while to adjust to it. Like people are going to see it and they're going to be like, oh shit, we can't figure what's going on.
Well, technically they do that. Technically, the goalkeeper is supposed to be the sweeper of coming out Ederson style and not getting it.
Ederson side.
But that's different though, because if you see the goalkeeper in that position, you'll just shoot.
Yeah, but like the whole point of the high line is so your keeper actually steps up like halfway in your half, or not even that far. But so if there is a long ball played in behind, he can just come out. Like Alisson does it for Liverpool, Ederson does it, whatever. But if you just leave a player there, it's like
I'm just telling you because I've also seen this. I've also seen this recently at the youth level,
and
and I know it's different. I'm not saying it's the same thing.
Javi's getting excited.
I'm not saying it's the same thing. But at the youth level, it's also harder for the players to figure things out because they don't think about systems, formations, tactics like that. They just play their game.
Ball, dribble, pass,
right.
shoot.
But there's been some times where I played a game and they have a team leaves like one person back there, and every time we try and play a through ball, they just clean it up. Whereas another team who tries to be a little bit more pressure
Your strikers doesn't just go stand and occupy that center back.
But what I'm saying is it takes them a while.
You have to scream at them. Dude, why are you here?
Like it takes them so long to figure it out.
Yeah.
So I just wonder if Big Ange at some point, maybe not Big Ange, but like, why don't you just put Van de Ven back there, just clean up everything, and have the rest of your players just like press really high, and Van de Ven can deal with one striker if they leave one striker, but he can also deal with if the striker comes in and gets the ball, he can also deal with just cleaning things up.
That's me, Steve Cooper, in his next job. He's gonna come back and do something like that.
I do think at some point that'll come back. We probably will see the reemergence of the 4-4-2 with the flat four.
I absolutely hate 4-4-2.
I hate it too.
Yeah.
I love
just
4-2. Well, that was the progression, wasn't it? 4-4-2,
4-3-3.
4-2-3-1, and then now we're doing all this.
Yeah, 4-3-3 was a huge, big thing when
Yeah.
I feel like when Spain was coming up
The
and
World Cups
doing well,
all
and
that.
then everyone just copied it. USA copied it.
Mm-hmm.
Then they turned the 4-3-3 into
What it is
the
now,
3-5,
whatever you want to.
3-2, whatever front of that. Yeah.
I also think that these tactics are very specific. Like when Pep and Arteta and Slot, when all these guys think about these things, they think about the systems and the tactics that are going to help them against whoever it is that they're playing
Yeah.
specifically.
Yeah.
So when you think about that, then you realize that you change something here, that means you're more susceptible to this, or it might not be as effective against another formation. So that's why I think like it might take them a while to sort that out against if a team plays with a sweeper, for example, because their tactics are set for for like the high line or whatever.
Yeah.
So, but I think it's with everything, right? And so when somebody figures out how to beat a 3-2 build-up, and really like Atalanta, I think is already kind of on top of that. Atlanta, I think is
the man marking.
yeah. But when they really figure it out so that it's week in and week out, it's easier. Somebody's going to change it to I don't know, a 2-3 or a 5-1 or some shit like that, right? But
Have people figured out, you think, Manchester City's tactics, or do you think that they're just struggling and in a rough patch, or do you think
it's a good question.
Pep's been stuck to the same tactics for so long? There's enough teams who've found ways to beat him at them that it's just like, I'll just copy that. There's the motto. Repeat.
I just think it's the players are not performing. I don't think it's. Pep's been doing the same thing for what 10
Plus.
years now.
That's my point. Like Kodak did the same thing for so long, and then it just didn't work anymore.
I don't think it's that. I just think it's the players that like Foden is nowhere near what he was. Kyle Walker's way past what he should be playing. Ricky Lewis is good, but he's not the like. Obviously, Rodgers out, Kovacic is out. Nunes is not the player. It's like imagine playing Calvin Phillips there. Like these guys that they've brought haven't worked out. Bless you, and they're forced to play them because whether it's form or injuries, and you just have to play them.
Think
Like-
Pep's regretting getting rid of Calvin Phillips? He's like, that's what we need right now.
Yeah,
I
well,
do-
Southgate.
I do think that Manchester City has struggled with some injuries. They've lost Kevin. When's the last time we saw Kevin De Bruyne playing consistently? He's been out for a long time.
I don't know why he keeps he's subbed on now in 2 straight games. Why? I don't understand why he's not starting.
This is the thing with Kevin De Bruyne though. He's been like this for the past like 4 years, 5 years, and they've been completely fine without him.
I disagree with that. He hasn't been like he's been gone for quite some time now. He always has injury problems. I agree.
Yeah.
But it's typically not like season long injury problems. He's been out for a while.
Last year he didn't come back until like January or February. That's why they went on a run, is because he was finally healthy for the tail end of the
And
season.
he started this season. He played the first
few games.
and then got hurt. He's been out for only like a month and a half.
Yeah, but when you combine that with Rodri,
that's the main one.
Rodri's the main one. When you combine that with
100%.
Rodri,
And then I think Kovacic going down after Rodri's hurt is why they're really struggling now. Because Kovacic was the closest thing they had.
To,
and we
like,
even
the
talked about
backup.
on the podcast, I think, that Kovacic has been like
The Rock,
one of their best players. Their game against Chelsea, he played absolutely amazing.
But then usually like when somebody's missing, you have Phil Foden, like Grealish stepping up, like all these players stepping up. They're just not performing. Like none of them are doing anything.
Yeah.
And Kyle Walker's, he got beat by Timo Werner at the weekend when they got 4-0 on a race, and they both started at the same time. They both everything the same.
And
thing.
Timo had the ball.
And he got absolutely smoked. And in the past 10 years, you would never say that about Kyle Walker. And it's just catching up to him. I think, like I said, I think the last podcast, I think it's way too many games for a lot of these players. And they played in the summer. A lot of them did. And you just can't.
They're just done.
Mentally, physically, you just can't do it. It's similar to what Liverpool did the 1 year when all of them were just like fell apart and were just mentally shut. I just don't think I think all teams and all players go through a period like this.
So let me ask you this, because you brought up that point about like Liverpool. That year for Liverpool was a rebuild. That's when you guys. That was when you sold Sane, right? You got rid of Sane. Mane, right? And so you guys had a rebuilding year. Like that year was almost, I wouldn't say gone to waste, but you guys knew like you were throwing that year away, focusing
Was your
on the future.
Van Dijk tore his ACL?
Van Dijk tore the ACL. We had 2 academy center backs, and Henderson's legs were gone. Fabinho's legs were gone. All that.
So, do you think this is?
Yes, $1 billion are spent in January. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, honestly,
Yeah.
I mean, you know how Manchester City does it.
Yeah. That's literally how it's gonna be.
That means they have to offload. I mean, they're gonna have to offload some people.
I mean, we talk about like
Grealish.
We talked about before the podcast about the Salah and all that contract. KDB, he's in the same situation, and I don't think they plan on renewing anything, just because they're like, dude,
That's crazy.
He's
like,
done.
I just think I think Pep is gonna spend as much money as he wants, because like, well, I gotta do what I gotta do, and he's gonna
or he doesn't, because they'll be in the championship and he can keep
Yeah,
all these
well,
same
that's
players.
right.
I think
just
that
to get
him
them back up to the top.
Him signing that contract proves that the Chargers will get dropped.
yeah,
I don't think he signs that contract unless there's some level of certainty there that there's nothing happening.
sadly.
Unless he was doing it, and there's a clause in there of like, if these charges happen, you guys still have to pay me.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
That would be the only thing I could see. But
If they get relegated, he gets to get out of his contract and still get paid for it.
Or he wants to play in the championship.
if we drop, I
He
captain the
he
squad.
wanted to try it out.
Maybe, honestly, can you imagine that with that team, or the majority of those guys, go back to the championship and just not even have to coach for a year, just win the championship by a mile?
I mean, I don't know.
wow.
He won't lose a single game. He'll go undefeated.
What if he does?
I mean,
Stop.
but listen, here's the crazy part about all
Erling
of this.
Haaland in the championship.
Everyone has been waiting so long to trash Manchester City. Haven't had the opportunity for a long time. They won 4 in a row. At some point, with every dynasty that's ever happened, and he's had probably one of the most, if not the most, consistent dynasties of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Not even Barcelona lasted this long. At some point, you're gonna have a bad season.
Yeah.
If I was the owners for Manchester, and I am, like, I'm not the owner, but if
And I am.
but what I'm saying is, what they are doing is they offered him a new contract. And I would, if I was the owner, I would go on there and be like, look, I don't care where we finish. Shit, I don't care if we get relegated. Pep is allowed to have one terrible season after winning 4 Premier Leagues in a row.
Yeah.
With a championship, with the
But
Champions
that's
League
known.
title.
Like, I don't think that's.
I just know the people on, like, you already know, if you go on Twitter or on X or whatever and you search for hashtag Pep out,
Oh, of
you
course.
already know there's gonna be some idiots on there saying, like,
Of course.
this is enough. We need to get a new manager. Like, times have
Yeah.
changed. Like, bullshit.
I agree with you. You should get a new manager, Pep out. Let's
Yeah.
start it here.
Yeah.
Let's
Start the
start it
petition.
here.
Yeah, I like that.
Hey, if people genuinely think that they're just outside their minds. Like, could you imagine? You literally are won 4 in a row, and you're 11 games in, 12 games in. Pep out.
It's crazy.
and you're still second place in
And
the,
you're in second
place in the table.
That's the other part of this too. Like I don't know. We keep talking about how bad they are. They're still in second place.
That's yeah.
Like, are they really that bad?
Perspective.
It's-
Chelsea's been doing so well, and Manchester City have been doing so bad, and Manchester City is in second
This guy
place.
just wants to shit
And
on
Manchester
Eddie.
City has way more injuries, and Chelsea's rolling with every player.
Yeah.
And has spent way more money. That I also think part of it is, and I guess it kind of goes to what you guys are saying, it is like the not spending money in the last transfer window and a half is starting to catch up because they've lost that. They keep letting players go and they don't replace. The one I think that they could really use right now is Alvarez.
Yeah.
Because I think because last year when things weren't working with Haaland or he got injured, they would start Alvarez instead, and it changed the way they played. And then if you sub on Haaland or you sub, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you can, because they're so one-dimensional now.
And when Haaland doesn't score,
Yeah,
which he didn't for 4 games in a row, 5
Mhm.
games in a row,
they struggle.
You struggle.
And they've never been great defensively.
Yeah.
But-
It's just a period. It happens. I mean, I hope he keeps on
Continues to
going,
happen.
but at some point it's just gonna.
He's harming himself.
I know that's crazy, man.
This guy.
You know he's not sleeping at night. You know, like this is like
he's obsessing over it.
yeah. This is a bad thing for the rest of the Premier League now. Like as much as you want to see this happen, you don't want to see this happen because
Because
now
they'll go even crazier in the
yeah,
transfer window.
he's gonna come back with vengeance. He's like, remember, like I guarantee he brings it like this moment up whenever he lifts the trophy. He's like, oh, you guys remember when we lost 4 in a row and you guys were asking me stupid ass questions?
5 in a row.
100%. Well, that's what honestly I'm so happy they're playing you guys this weekend.
I'm
so
not
happy.
because now he's gonna.
No, but there's not a better time to play Manchester City than right now, George.
I don't know.
I
Yeah.
don't know, man.
Dude, what do you mean? Every other in the
I know,
last
but
4 years, you tell me a better time to have played against Manchester City.
Well, I would have said 2 weeks ago would have been the perfect time.
Yeah.
They're struggling. Like it's one of those. At some point, you don't want to play the team
That's pissed off.
that's pissed off and that is good and has it in them. Because I could see them starting De Bruyne against you.
Oh,
maybe.
he's starting for sure.
And them coming to play. And De Bruyne, to me, is the one player that they do have on that team who is experienced enough with how Pep wants to play and has enough respect from the rest of the group that, like, on the field in a game can get the group moving, where I think that would normally be Rodri. And I don't know. I just got a vibe that, like, that people on the team don't respect Kyle Walker that as much.
yeah,
Kyle Walker's been, I mean, you called it out. He's been really struggling. So
Listen, this is the perfect time for Liverpool right now. You're telling me within a 2-week window, I'll take that any day because
guys
over
win.
the last 4 years, you cannot pick a better 2-week window than to play them right now. You are flying. The best start to any Premier League. What's the stat? Like the best start to any Premier League manager, new manager, or whatever.
it's got to be.
He's top 3, and technically he's number 1 if you look at like goal differential, because he's 10-1-1. No other new manager has started better than that. You're playing against a wounded Manchester City with
Talk
lots
to me
of
after
issues.
tomorrow.
Sure, of course. But what I'm saying is that if you picked any other year, any other moment to play Manchester City, you wouldn't have as much confidence as you do in this very moment right now as a Liverpool. Not just because of Manchester City, but because Liverpool are playing so well and are doing so well under Arne Slot. So, don't get greedy, George.
I'm
Don't
not
get
greedy.
greedy.
I'm completely the opposite.
George
I'm
is
like,
super chill because he doesn't want to jinx it. I have a feeling like George doesn't want to jinx it.
He also
right?
knows that if it falls apart, how much
no.
trash we're gonna talk.
I'm telling you, just
Tomorrow, I'm not worried about Man City.
you guys will be 20 points ahead.
I'm
Match
talking-
week 37.
He's
You're gonna be
talking
like,
about
it's
Liverpool, he's
still
talking about Real
early.
Madrid tomorrow.
Yeah, we have a big game tomorrow. I'm not like
One game at a time.
I can't. I'm not skipping. Come on.
Oh, come on, big game.
What?
Group stages of the Champions League.
Dude, this
Calm
group
down.
stage, I think I say this every time. I love this group stage way better. Having one big table is sweet. Having all these like big random games, sweet. And I think it's a cool test for the players too, because you don't get to just play the same teams over and over and over and over. Like the fact that we're seeing some of these people play each other and they play one time, and that's all they're going to play potentially for 2 to 5 more years.
Yeah,
I think it's really cool.
Liverpool lose tomorrow. They go to like 15th.
No, stop it.
Yeah, that's what.
sure, but it's not a big game.
They don't
Like
go to
it's a big
15th.
game. It's a big game.
It's
Sure,
huge.
it's not,
It's
bro.
Real Madrid
Liverpool
royalty.
versus Liverpool
You're
versus
in third. If you lose tomorrow, you're in third.
Well, all their teams are gonna win.
The only teams that can pass you tomorrow are Monaco and Dortmund if they win by 3.
Damn right.
So you will go worst case scenario to 5th.
Where's Real Madrid in all this?
Liverpool
Real
versus
Madrid. That's the other part about this. This is like a big, huge game for Real Madrid. They are 21st on 6 points
Oh,
Liverpool
from
versus
4 games though.
oh crap.
Like this, that's the other part. This is they're chugging along this quickly.
Liverpool versus Ipswich in the Premier League is a bigger game than Liverpool versus Real Madrid in the
What?
Champions League right now. Right now.
Joe, talk to your boy.
I just
This man's lost the plot.
just
No,
you
but
just,
like Joe just proved it to you. You guys could lose, win, draw. You're
What?
still gonna be you know you're still gonna finish in the top 9 teams that are gonna get a bye anyway.
Well, no, you
the
don't.
top 9's hard, dude.
Yeah, and Liverpool are what are they right now?
Well,
First,
now,
second?
but
So, well, Liverpool, they also have to go. They play Real Madrid at home, then they go to Girona away. Lille, PSV, and Eindhoven. Yeah, you guys should be fine.
So 2 things. 1, Liverpool versus Manchester City is a much bigger game. We know this. We can agree on that. You can.
That's a
agree on
huge game.
that. That's a
Well,
much
they're-
bigger game
yeah,
than
well-
Liverpool Real Madrid.
Well, because it's first, second, and if you guys win that game, you go 11 points clear.
Yeah.
That's crazy. You go 11 points
So
clear of City. You literally
huge.
can knock them out of.
maybe.
When you think
Just-
about your resources, When you think about your resources, playing time for each player, that is definitely taken into account.
I can't believe Man City have an extra day.
Oh, here we go. Don't start with that bullshit. The other thing,
That is unfortunate, but the game's Sunday, so you guys have you'll be fine.
Time.
the other thing I
Saturday,
do think,
I would hear you complaining.
I agree. This Champions League method is so much better. You're always going to get shit about when you change things, especially when it's been so long. I like that we're not watching Liverpool versus Young Boys twice in the group stages. That nobody cares about those games anyway.
Yep. How many people care about Bayern Munich and PSG today?
A lot more than Liverpool.
Nobody
Young Boys.
cared.
They should have.
People cared about Man City at home against Feyenoord.
That was a good game. That's why.
Yeah, but that game can happen again.
I know, but no.
It's more interesting. It's more
Tomorrow,
interesting.
I'm very excited to have on Liverpool, Real Madrid. Like that's gonna be sweet. I'm very excited for that game.
Fiorentino Perez said
tomorrow. You also got Aston Villa, Juve. That's a good game.
Fiorentino Perez said that he listed the amount of times that English teams have come visited the Bernabeu in I don't know, the last decade or something, and it was like very few times that they've actually done it. So
he called that Man United.
Did he?
He said they. It's funny though. He's like they haven't been here in like 15 years, and I'm like, have they been in the Champions League? Like it's been a while.
The format is cool.
Yeah.
I like it.
It's different.
Yeah, it's good.
It is good.
Anytime you are constantly able to look at a league table is good, because that's how we judge where teams are at in the season.
Yeah,
agreed.
Versus just looking at the 4 teams in that group. It's just kind of boring. So, but big game. Let's get your predictions before we finish it off with that. Let's get your predictions for Liverpool, Manchester City. I don't care about Liverpool, Real Madrid. I don't care about Liverpool, Real Madrid. Skip it. Predictions.
Dun, dun.
No predictions.
This guy.
I need
No
to see.
shout-outs.
I need to see who's fit.
Don't give me that bullshit.
I need to see.
Like
In
your
the
predictions
moment-
are so spot on when you have all that info.
Yeah, they are. So I'm a millionaire of betting.
In the moment, realistic, not because you're going to jinx it or whatever, realistic. What do you think the final score of that game is?
Draw.
Fair enough. You gave me a result. You said draw, right? Who wins? All right, what about you, Joe?
2-0 Liverpool.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I just think you guys don't give up goals. Salah is playing amazing. Arne Slot sets you guys up very well tactically. Oddly enough, I think it'll be another day in the office for you.
Damn. You guys have a lot more confidence.
I'm going to give you a wider net as far as prediction, which is unfair. Sure. I think it's either going to be a game that's like a 1-goal game, right? Like, but no, hold on. But Liverpool wins. I'm not going to say, Manchester City or Liverpool, one of them's going to win by 1 goal. No, I think Liverpool's going to win. I think they can either win like a 2-1 or a 1-0, or I think they'll absolutely thrash Manchester City. I wouldn't be surprised if it's like a 4-5-0 game. I know that sounds crazy. I just think, like I said, you guys are in a good moment. You guys are going to be super motivated. Pep is going to go in there super stressed, knowing how much pressure's on him, versus Arne Slot. I think they're super confident. When you have that confidence, it makes a huge difference. Can't pick a better time to play against Man. Are you guys playing at Anfield?
Yep.
Yeah, at Anfield.
Then I'm going to say Liverpool are going to thrash Manchester City. I think it's going to be a 4-goal difference.
Damn.
4-goal difference. I'm going to say it here.
2 games back to back.
4-goal
Pep
difference.
Guardiola 8-0 on the aggregate to Tottenham and Liverpool.
It's just it's also one of those, such a risky. Manchester City's like one of those teams that, like, let's say Liverpool goes up early.
They'll go for it.
Manchester City has to go for it at that point, leaving them exposed. Your boy Salah is motivated because he wants that contract renewal. And
I will say the way you guys play and the way Tottenham plays are like City's kryptonite. People that can hit them on the counter quick.
the ball will be in the net more in than it will be out.
How many goals does Darwin score? That's what I care about.
Darwin's not going to play.
Damn. Especially if there's a high line.
Is Jota, where's Jota at?
He broken rib, so I don't know. He's coming.
Steve, what is he like MMA in the weekends or what?
No,
What's
listen,
what's going on here?
Let me tell you something about Jota, okay? Nobody knows this. Only I.
Oh,
do.
but
Only I do.
Here we
some
go.
bullshit.
when the new FIFA comes out, Jota's always injured. He is an esports guy.
Yeah, he does.
You know
like
that,
it.
right?
Yeah.
Like he's actually amazing at FIFA. He's like one of like top 100 players in the world. So when FIFA comes out, look at when FIFA comes out every single year, and look when Jota's injured every single year. You will find very interesting things there. Another thing you've got to find when you look at Neymar's injuries, his sister's birthday is always in February, and they go to Brazil and celebrate. The guy's always injured in February.
Interesting.
Or one of I don't know, one of those months.
Wow. Conspiracy theory segment is back, baby.
Dun, dun, dun.
There was something about that about one of the Brazilian players. I can't remember. Somebody in the Premier League that anytime it's Carnival in Brazil,
Paqueta, I
he
think.
either gets a red card or
was
gets injured,
Paqueta.
right?
Yeah.
That Thomas brought that point up, didn't
Yeah,
he?
he did.
All right. So we'll see. We'll see what happens this weekend.
No, I will say this though. If there's a high line, Darwin Núñez plays. He has to. He has too much speed not to.
Sure, but how's he going to know that beforehand?
Just make a guess on what's going to happen.
Man City's played against Spurs and against the Feyenoord with a high ass line.
I don't think they're going to do it because clearly it hasn't worked out.
Yeah, I mean, I hope they do. If they play the high line, I'll be so much more.
You can't play
confident.
the high line when Kyle Walker's getting outrun by people. Like
I
it worked better
wanna
when
see
Kyle
it.
Walker could catch everyone.
And I think that's the key right there. Like Ange, well, doesn't work that well. It works.
Works better with Van de Ven.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now they can't even do that because he's injured.
Mm-hmm.
So that's gonna be interesting if Pep sticks to what he knows, or you know what, let's just change it up. I mean, imagine he changes it up, then everyone's gonna be like, oh, what the something different. But anyway, enough of this Liverpool Man City stuff. The most important thing, 3 weeks ago, we said here, and you were trying to tell me my boy Gary Neal is getting fired and they're going to get relegated. Back-to-back wins. Give my boy some credit and give Wolves some credit.
The bottom of the Premier League is like...
It's a rotating door, baby.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. Leicester is the same thing. Like
6 points.
Leicester's like 2.2 or two spots clear of the relegation zone,
6
but they
points.
could be like 19th.
6 points.
Yeah.
In 2 games. Ever since you called him out and you say he's getting sacked and they're going to be
I also
relegated.
still think Southampton's going to stay up. Dude, Southampton's got to be.
They could have beat Arsenal. They could have beat everybody, but they don't.
You got to admit, Southampton's got to be the best team to be the worst team in the Premier League.
They play the best for a team that's on 4 points. That's for sure.
What are Wolves at? 6?
9.
9?
Yep. Southampton at 4, Crystal Palace at 8, Ipswich at 9, Wolves at 9, Leicester at 10,
My
Everton
boys.
at 11. Then there's a gap with West Ham at 15.
My boy.
Wolves
Gary
can
O'Neill.
literally tie the next game and then be like 19th spot.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe they will. I believe my Wolves.
I will, but if we're talking about things that we've said and all this shit, who said Manchester United? And maybe it's still early, but who said?
Oh, you can't say that.
I'm going to double down. Who said Manchester United would not be one of the best teams in the Premier League? I said that last year.
Weren't you the one
as
that
soon as
picked that
Ineos
Ten
came.
Hag was going to stay and win trophies?
No.
Yeah.
No, get the fuck out. Get the fuck out.
Wait. That question didn't make sense.
Yeah.
Where you just said that.
I'm just saying.
They're not.
We're starting to see it. We're going to start to see it. This was the first big one. When Ineos came around, I said,
Ipswich tie.
Oh, you did. Yeah.
oh, come on. You cannot. First game, 2 training sessions with the team. Calm down.
You're the
First
one
of
that
all-
brought it up.
Okay. First of all,
the reason why I say this is this because
Oh, because of
Enzo
Ineos?
I said it because as soon as Ineos came in, I told you guys, I was like, they're going to make some decisions that are going to be really good. They're going to invest in the right people. Ruben Amorim's the big.
they give Ten
first
Hag a
big
new
decision.
contract.
I said 5 years. I didn't say 1 year. I
Yeah,
said 5
but-
years.
Like,
But
They're going to come in and make
it's
all
a
these
pretty
changes, and then
safe-
they gave Ten Hag a new contract
It's a
and
pretty safe
sacked him
bet.
2 months later.
It's a pretty safe bet. Enzo Maresca, Arne Slot, managers who are very similar if you think about their managerial style and tactics to Ruben Amorim, have both been very successful. Arteta, same thing, very successful. And you could say whatever you want about the trophies and
I'm
stuff
not.
like that.
I'm not saying that won't happen.
I'm just saying
their hand was forced. It's not that they came in and made those decisions.
Sure, but they could have. Manchester United's hand has been forced for the last 10 years since Sir Alex Ferguson left, and they've made bad decision after bad decision after bad decision.
Yeah, let's calm down
finally
before we make that Ruben signing a great decision because he's played one game and they've drawn.
That's what I'm saying. I'm doubling down.
No,
Okay.
but like you
Doubling down the beginning.
You said a year when
did-
Ineos take over, 1 year or a year.
He did say that
That was
they're
a
going
year
to
ago.
fix it.
Yeah, they're gonna fix it, but them fixing it did absolutely nothing for a year,
Yeah.
and instead of fixing it, they just stuck with.
They made it
this-
worse.
They
'Cause
made it worse. in a
Brought in
way.
all of his players.
No, I actually respect them for that decision.
What?
Because it's one of those things that you won't know until afterwards, and they took a risk that was like,
Fair.
that was like, hey, we're gonna see this through until we comfortably feel that this is not the right way to go. But until then, we're not gonna just make any rash decisions just because we're gonna like, oh, we want to turn everything upside down. It didn't work out. I also didn't say 1 year. I also didn't say like, oh, next year they're gonna be amazing.
No, you didn't.
But I did say 5 years, and I think
said
on that
3.
when you did I say 3? Okay. How long this is? So they're 1 year in. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure I said 5.
We are in our
I'm
second
pretty
year.
sure I said 5.
So next year's the year.
No, you might have said 2028. I don't know. That's which is
But
5, maybe. I don't know.
I'm doubling down because I see
You
it.
think Javi plans 5 years in advance?
I see it.
Okay. First of all, none of that made sense. I'll tell you why. You talk about you didn't want to flip the script, blah blah. Ineos were supposed to be these cold-blooded people that just come in and change it up. And what
That's
did they
not
do? Yeah, that's literally what they were supposed to come in and do.
Calculated, methodological, blah, blah, blah,
Uh-huh,
whatever
yeah.
that
So
word
let me-
is.
let me-
Methodical.
Methodical.
let
I
me
added a
ask you
couple extra
this.
syllables there.
How calculated was it to come in, look at Ten Hag, what he's done the past 2 years, and be like, you know what, you deserve a new contract. Not only that, but I'm going to buy all the players you want,
No,
and then
no.
sack you a month and a half into the season
No.
after I just buy you all these players that you're supposed to be making up. And he didn't even have time to use Ugarte and all these players. So how is that calculated? If you
Because
explain
they
that
won.
to me,
They won 2 trophies in that time.
what?
Ten Hag won 2 trophies.
Okay, so no, you're not explaining the summer. So you give him a new contract.
They're saying that's why they kept him over. He's saying that's why they kept him over the
Yeah.
summer
So-
because it's hard to sack somebody who keeps winning.
So then you buy his players in the summer,
Mhm.
and you sack him a month into the season. How is that calculated?
Because
Now
you
they
can't
know it's
sack-
not-
Yeah,
now
now
they
they
know
now
it's
they
not
know
good.
it's not right. But it's hard because we've
Us
even
here
compared.
that are clueless that could have told you.
No,
that.
but we've everybody's compared about like everyone talk about Arsenal's been fantastic.
Yeah.
Arsenal's been amazing or whatever. And then when you look at it, Manchester United has won more trophies than Arteta.
That's-
Ten Hag's won more trophies. So when
that's-
you look at it from that perspective, you have to say like this guy. We can't just fucking sack this guy because we don't like
I bet
because of the public perception. When in the stats say he won trophies. Now that risk clearly didn't pay off, and they're like, okay, this is not the long-term future guy. But they can't also just make a rash decision and be like, oh, you're out. Because people are also going to say, yeah, the dude won 2 trophies. There was a lot of Manchester United fans up until the 4 or 5 weeks ago, maybe a little bit longer now, that backed Eric Ten Hag.
I backed him all the way.
Sure,
for the
but
first
you're a
3 years.
Well, I was gonna say after they won the FA Cup, I think a lot of people are like, oh, we have an FA Cup, we're moving in the right direction, we can win some trophies, and I bet you Ineos learned the lesson of don't let the FA Cup or Carabao Cup cloud your mind.
Well, that
Look
was
at
it.
where your place is in the league and keep it moving, and everything else is a byproduct of that almost.
And that's what I was gonna say. If they were that smart, they would now let these stupid ass trophies keep Ten Hag in the job.
But at some point, you have to say, like, because what for Man United last year, if you at the beginning of the season, if you ranked the trophies out, I would assume you would put the FA Cup as the second most important trophy for them to win.
Were they in the Europa or no? Did they even make Europa? Did they?
I don't
'Cause-
think they made Europa. They might have
Yeah.
made Conference League. So I guess you could argue Conference League, but I don't.
No, not conference. I wouldn't cut it.
Europa
But
only for the Champions League
Yeah.
bid.
So,
So
but
if you-
that
All I'm saying is that my
We get it. You're right. You're such
No,
a
no,
great
not that I'm
prediction.
right. Not that
You're
I'm right.
so-
No,
like, I
he's-
mean,
he's
clearly
doubling.
he had the tactics right against Ipswich. He's gonna be so. He's probably gonna win the league this
No,
year.
no.
He might just go down as the greatest manager of all time.
you know what's crazy about this? Javi he talks about Ineos and like all these guys like they're
Just
so
wait.
calculated. They know what they're doing.
just wait.
And Javi, 10 weeks into the season, is like Arsenal can now win the Premier League
Yeah.
because they're 6 points away.
How many points are we now?
It's 25 games to go.
We're 25 points away.
No, but how many points are we away from?
I have no
Liverpool?
idea. I don't look at the table until like
We're 8,
30
I'm
games
looking at it
in.
right now
30
Dude,
games in.
because we're the same. I
No,
think we're
January
tied.
That's
finishes.
somewhat excessive. but-
Yeah.
So we
January
are-
finishes, then I just like. all right.
We are 9 points away from Liverpool.
9 points is a lot.
For more points than we were a few weeks ago when we talked about, there's still so much time.
they play more
I'm
games.
doubling down on both of these things. I fucking hate to be that guy. But
No, you love me.
no, because I'm an Arsenal fan. I want Arsenal to do
No,
well,
you're
but
a
I'm
Man
not going to
United
give
fan
you a
now.
bullshit. I'm not going to give you a bullshit opinion because I'm an Arsenal fan. I'm going to tell you what I really think is happening. I'm doubling down on both of these things. Ineos is still on track to push Manchester United to be one of the top teams in whatever I said, 3 or 5 years. I think this is
In
this is
35 years?
This is the start, but this can happen very quickly because, like we said, they're actually not far away from the top 5, right? So they win a couple games off the bounce. We're talking about Europa League.
How are we back to United? I thought we had moved on and we're talking about Arsenal.
No, yeah, but I'm saying I'm doubling. No, what I'm saying is
Ineos got it. Yeah,
I'm doubling down on
best
that one,
manager ever.
and I'm doubling down on the fact that I think Arsenal is not going to be a great.
Okay,
we'll finish 4th. We won't have a chance at.
Do you think Liverpool eclipses 100 points?
No. I also don't think Liverpool are going to be that consistent.
Because that's what they're
Dude, that's
pacing for
hard.
now. Well,
That's
that's what
so
I'm
hard.
saying. That's what they're pacing.
Do you know
for
what
now.
you just said, by the way?
What, George?
No,
what did I just say?
he's hopped up on prime energy drinks he got for $1.
This man
You guys are haters.
This man just said, I'm doubling down on Ineos because Amorim is going to change, and we're not that far away because they're going to win a couple of games in the bounce, and everybody else loses, and they're in it. Well, I can say the same thing about Arsenal. Couple
I think
games.
that's much harder though because the space between
because
the
only
space
one
between
team needs to drop points, and that's Liverpool. Your argument: 7 teams have to drop points. I'm normally on your side with these arguments, and right now you're giving me nothing.
No.
You're
What I'm saying
it's
is
easier for Arsenal, it's easier for United to catch 4th than it is for Arsenal to catch 1st. That doesn't even make sense.
yeah.
No, it doesn't, because Liverpool's one team and they need to drop points.
It's much easier when you look at the teams from 3 to 7 or 3 to 8 for those teams to flip flop back and forth through the
'Cause
table.
all those teams need to drop points for United to take that spot.
But those teams are not as consistent as Liverpool is what I'm saying. Like Liverpool and Manchester City, typically they're going to win the match.
What?
They're going to be the better team. They're going to win a match.
Manchester
Against
City and
most of the
Arsenal
other
are
teams.
1 point away from each other. And I would argue, who would you rather be today if you were a player, on Arsenal or on Manchester City? Take your bias of being a fan out. Which club would you rather be on? Who do you think has yeah.
Sure.
I think that way that Arsenal, how we looked in Champions League today, how we looked over the weekend, if Odegaard and some of our players can stay healthy through December, look at the run of games that we have. Do I think we're going to make up a bunch of points? No, but if we can take a 9-point lead and make it 6, 7, 5, somewhere in that 5 to 7 range.
You can do that this weekend. It literally takes one game.
I know. That's what I'm saying. It's
I will say
Liverpool bobbles. We can gain some. We have good matches. Odegaard's back. I mean, we scored 8 goals in our last 2 matches with Odegaard back. And even the game against Chelsea, we don't score the goal we score without Odegaard. He plays a gorgeous ball over the top to Martinelli. That's the difference between, we played you guys without him and could have easily won the game. We played City without him and could have easily won the game. I don't think we're as far off as you think, but I'm also told I'm toxically positive at times.
I just don't think anybody
that's
can
a great trait to have, by the way. That's the question to what is your biggest weakness?
Toxic positivity.
Yeah. Toxic positivity.
It's just with 25 games to go, you can't say one team's gonna win, one team's not.
No.
When there's
10
games
but we
to go,
can't say that about anything. We just give our predictions, and that's what we do, right? We give our predictions until the end of the season when we figure out if we're wrong or we're right.
That's all you do. You give your predictions and you're wrong.
But I
Probably.
I don't I never ever any season I don't think about a title in November.
Georgie's sleeping with a fake Premier League trophy right
We
now. You
have
know that, right?
Right. So, but we make guesses, and we can't really control what happens. All I'm saying is that Manchester City, you make an educated guess that Manchester City is always going to be one of the top teams because for the last 4 years they've won the Premier League.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever, if Manchester City gains an early lead at the beginning of the season, given the fact that they've won the last 4 Premier Leagues in a row, and 2 or 3 of those were coming from behind in January, you would say Manchester City, the logical guess would be Manchester City is going to run away from the rest of the teams, right? So that's why we make these assessments. Now, I've been wrong with Manchester City because I've thought nobody would have predicted that they would have lost 5 games in a row. Now, obviously, some of those are in the Champions League or whatever. But nobody would have predicted that they would have gone on a run this bad because he had never lost more than 2 games in a row.
Yeah, I think 2 or 3 maybe.
Yeah. So that one, obviously, I got wrong. And if anybody said Manchester City were going to lose 5 games in a row and be winless in their last 6, people would be like, well, something fucking, the facility exploded or something. So that one I'm wrong in. But I still am not wrong in the fact that Liverpool are running away with it. And they've been consistent. They've been good. It feels to me when they play that it's a pretty sure thing that they're going to win. And sure, it's early. We can say that. I'm just giving you my prediction of what I think is going to happen. So I'm doubling down.
Yeah,
So
you're not guessing. You're literally doubling and tripling down.
He's
Arsenal
bought into it.
I'm bought into that, and I'm exaggerating maybe a little bit more than I should be. All I'm saying at the end of the day is that when it comes to the end of the season and let's say the last month and a half of the season, it's going to be pretty clear that unless something crazy happens, I think Liverpool are probably going to win the league the way that they're playing right now. Sure, it's early. You could say that.
That's so crazy.
We'll see what happens. I could be completely wrong. I could be completely wrong. I'm doubling down on the fact that I also want to be like, fucking, I told you fuckers at this time that this was going to happen. Which is why I'm also doubling
When you
down.
say that and Liverpool win the Premier League, I'm going to punch you.
He's a Man United fan, though.
I told you guys Liverpool will win. I want you to be
I
wrong.
could still be wrong if it comes down to like the last 2 weekends, right? And like, let's say even if Liverpool does win it or Manchester City does win it over Arsenal, but it comes down to last 2 weekends, I'll be like, yeah, I was wrong because Arsenal did claw their way back in, and Arsenal came really close. I'm just like, dude, I don't feel confident, and I feel like it's okay. We'll finish.
Who do you guys
top
play
4.
this weekend?
Let me check.
I forget. I will say Liverpool hosts. What I was going to say is Liverpool hosts
West Ham.
Arsenal.
West Ham, baby.
The
J-Lo.
third last game of the season,
Big games.
which I think there will still be things to play for then.
So wait. Did you just say Arsenal play Liverpool last game of the season?
Third to last game.
Oh,
No, I don't think they would ever put
They
it.
would never put it on the last day.
Yeah. Even though
But
it's a
third to
complete-
last is like
still.
still really late for that game, which all we got to do, if you really think about it, all we would have to do is stay within 3 points of them going into that game, technically.
because then it's like a 6-point swing, right?
Yeah.
Listen, just leave us out of it. Worry about
So then
Man City.
technically we're only 6
Leave
points
Liverpool.
out, which
Don't
means
talk-
if you guys lose and we win this weekend, we're really only 3 points out.
Just leave Liverpool out of this.
Win your games. Win your games.
All right. Any final thoughts, Georgie?
No final thoughts.
Georgie's gonna he's gonna want to stop doing the podcast by a fear that he's gonna jinx Liverpool.
No, I'm
winning the Premier
100%.
League, right?
100%. We're
Listen,
almost done.
I've been consistent since we started the podcast. What did I tell you last year? Or no, when Liverpool had the terrible season, where I say after 10 or 15 games, I was like, you asked me.
You
"Are
said,
worried?"
I'm not worried.
Yeah.
I'm not worried. I'm not worried.
Exactly.
I'm not
I kept even when Liverpool were doing terrible, and I kept saying, no, I'm not worried. It's 10 games in. No, I'm not
Yeah.
worried. It's 15
And
games
where
in.
did you guys finish that season?
Then I told you I was worried in the 20th game this season.
There you go. There you
Well,
go.
that's what I'm saying.
I should have been worried.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't worry about the first X amount
Well,
of
no
games.
shit, but that doesn't mean that you can be like wrong or right.
Well, yeah, you could be wrong or right.
Well, what I'm saying is you were very wrong.
You can always be
No,
wrong.
I
or right.
wasn't
'Cause
worried.
if I,
Now, guys,
yeah, you
I
weren't
want
worried that
you
you
to
had a shit season.
You guys are
No.
arguing on whether you can be wrong or right. No shit.
All right. Any final thoughts, Georgie?
No final thoughts.
Are you worried?
I'm not worried.
You're worried.
I'm not worried. There's nothing to be worried about. Life is good, man.
Yeah, for now. It's too early. It's too early in the season for life to be good, George. It's too early in the season. Life can't be good right now. It's too early.
Listen, life is good. Life is good when you have this bad boy or this bad boy.
All right, Joe, what about you? Anything?
Just glad that soccer's back. And let me phrase, I'm glad that club football is back, not international.
Love that.
God, I
But-
hate international break.
And international break is back. It will be in March, I think, right? Is it March or May? January? No, I think
No,
it's January.
it's not January. No,
Is it January?
no.
Anyway,
It has to be in March.
that's it for this one. Appreciate you guys all joining us. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.